Now to breaking news overnight. A 1-year-old baby is hurt during a fatal police shooting. Houston police say this happened during a chase and attempted carjacking. It started on Sugar Branch Drive when officers spotted a car tied to at least 2 aggravated robberies. That driver took off, leading a chase up the Southwest Freeway where the man crashed at a gas station. So police say the suspect then jumped into a woman's car with that gun, and they say when he wouldn't drop the gun, an officer opened fire. His shots killed that man, but also hit the woman's 1-year-old in the back seat. So that child was rushed to the hospital and last check was in critical condition.
1 year ago today, we saw the first case of COVID-19 here in Texas, in Fort Bend County. We never imagined that we would still be in this pandemic an entire year later. Anieli Ruiz looks back on this past year.
Guys, there's a good chance you may remember where you were on March 4th of 2020. It's a day that changed for all of us. And now we're hearing for the first time from a couple who was among the first cases of COVID-19 in our area. Belinda Galindo was among the first to test positive after a trip to Egypt. The Galindos returned to Houston on March 14th. A few days later, Belinda and her husband Ernest knew something was wrong.
Literally just told her, I said, I don't know what to do. She's falling out, she's fainting. I can't handle this.
Belinda was rushed to the hospital and intubated for 6 weeks. She finally came home in May to a celebration. But like many others, Belinda lost a loved one to the virus, her brother-in-law. And it's been a grueling year of physical therapy and recovery since then. For healthcare workers, the past year has been its own kind of grueling. 12 months of hospitals stretched to capacity, therapies and vaccines created in record time. Dr. James McDavitt with Baylor College of Medicine remembers March 4th very well. He says the last 364 days have felt like 15 years.
My wife and I had a conversation that day or close to that day where she asked me, said, how long do you think this is going to go on? I said, well, I think this is pretty serious. This could probably go on until July. And little did I know, I might have gotten the right month, but I definitely got the wrong year.
Frontline workers and survivors both urging you to learn from the lessons of last year. Social distance, mask up, and get vaccinated. Guys, back to you.
Anieli, that is something Texas teachers and childcare workers can do now. They're eligible to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The Texas Department of State Health Services made that announcement yesterday. And if you're wondering who exactly is eligible, let's break it down. Anyone who works in pre-primary, primary, and secondary schools, as well as Head Start and early Head Start programs. That means teachers, staff, and bus drivers. Licensed childcare providers are on the list too. The Houston Federation of Teachers is excited to finally see teachers being prioritized.
This is hope for our teachers. Our teachers want to be back in school safely. They want to do their job. They want to teach our students and prepare them for the future. And this is definitely a step in the right direction to make that happen.
The state followed a directive from the Biden administration, as did CVS, which opened up vaccination appointments to Texas teachers. And the goal is to get other pharmacy chains on board, too. I popped on the CVS website. Sure enough, teachers are listed right there under eligibility. But getting the vaccine is a whole other issue. Only 2 stores even have openings, and they're both in the Panhandle. So this morning, we're asking which group should be the next in line to get the vaccine, because with teachers out of the way, a state panel is debating who's next. We want to hear from you, though. We've already gotten a few responses. This one says that it really is about the pilots, aircraft mechanics, delivery drivers, handlers, everyone who is getting the vaccine to you. Grocery and retail workers, they have that one-on-one interaction with customers. And hey, how about City of Houston workers getting the shot next? Of course, we'll keep you updated what that panel decides.
All right, Brandy, thank you. Time is just about 6:37. Governor Abbott's decision to loosen COVID restrictions is a green light for restaurants, but not all businesses are eager to reopen. It really is a story the whole country is watching right now. CBS This Morning's Janet Shamlian is on the story here in Houston this morning. Janet, good morning to you.
Xavier, good morning. There are opinions on both sides of this, as you well know. This morning on CBS This Morning, we're going to shine a national spotlight here on Houston and talk about what business owners are doing, how they're reacting to the news of the governor loosening restrictions. We visited St. Arnold Brewing Company, a place that you may know, They have decided to keep the mask wearing and the restrictions in terms of distancing that they have in place. They're not ready to drop everything yet. We also talked to the owner of a club downtown that closed last year, the Cottonmouth Club. They are not ready to reopen. Again, there's a lot of opinions on both sides of this. We're going to look at the business reaction specifically from here in Houston this morning on CBS This Morning. Xavier, back to you.
All right, Janet Shamlin, know plenty about St. Arnold Brewing Company. Obviously, I know Brandy knows even more. Thank you so much, Janet. And you can catch that full report coming up on CBS This Morning. That's right here on KHU 11 after H-Town Rush.
Meanwhile, Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo has also issued a warning for people who refuse to wear masks in businesses that still require them. That's one of the day's other big stories.
Just remember that if you remain in the business after being asked to leave, you are subject to arrest for criminal trespass.
Chief Acevedo says officers are not interested in arresting people for it. He's urging anyone who disagrees with a mask policy to quietly take their business elsewhere. Fewer people may end up receiving another stimulus check. A handful of moderate Democrats in the Senate complained the $1,400 checks were going to people who earn too much. Under the new deal, only individuals making $80,000 or less and couples making $160,000 or less will receive the checks.
Who would not want to improve the opportunity for police to do their job?
House Democrats passed the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, a measure meant to overhaul policing in America. The bill bans chokeholds and qualified immunity for police and should also make it easier to pursue misconduct charges. It now heads to the Senate. The U.S. Capitol on alert today over threats of a potential domestic terror attack. The threat driven by a QAnon conspiracy theory that former President Trump will return to power on March 4th. There's heightened security across the Capitol. And people living in LaPorte's Fairmont Park neighborhood reporting a strong natural gas smell in the area. Crews are monitoring air quality and looking for the source. If you smell natural gas, call the Harris County Pollution Control Complaint Line.
All right, let's talk about the one thing you need to know in weather today. We do have clear skies. I am expecting a few clouds to trickle in late this afternoon, but bottom line, 70s and just a beautiful afternoon to be expected. We will talk about that cold front expected for tomorrow in just a little bit, Steph.
All right, I'm going to piggyback on what you just said, Cheetah. It's beautiful out there on the freeways as well. Take a look at Galveston. If you are a long-haul commuter out of Galveston County, look at what's waiting for you on the Gulf Freeway. Nothing. If you can count the cars, you're in great shape.
All right, so thank you. Time is 6.